You want us to do what now? Said Axel Rain, his eyebrow raised so high it threatened to launch off his face and start orbit. The instructor, a translucent, pulsating creature named Vorbix, who looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a fiber-optic Christmas tree, wobbled its fronds in what was probably frustration. Or a seizure. Hard to tell. As I stated, Earth-native Axel, you and your fellow Deathworlders will participate in our galactic standard combat training. Standing beside Axel, his human companion Rika Lane let out a snort. Sure, because when I think combat, I absolutely picture a bioluminescent wind chime. Vorbix flickered indignantly, its colors shifting from lavender to offended neon. I assure you, it replied, this training regimen is carefully calibrated to challenge even the most elite warriors in the galaxy. Axel folded his arms. I bet your elite warriors break a sweat during aggressive photosynthesis. Around them, a nervous gaggle of alien recruits fidgeted with their limbs, pseudopods, and unidentified wobbling parts. One of them, a being that resembled a sentient house fern with googly eyes, ruffled indignantly. Another, a bloated sentient cloud named Flurm, deflated slightly. Vorbix burbled, his tentacles twisting in a motion that might have meant welcome or interpretive panic. Let us begin with a warm-up drill. You will traverse this obstacle course while avoiding our harmless stun bubbles. Rika blinked. Those are the weapons. Floating soap orbs. Correct. They emit a mild static shock upon contact. Axel cracked his knuckles theatrically. Oof. A static zap. What is this combat training or a mildly inconvenient laundry day? The obstacle course before them looked like it had been designed by a sugar-crazed toddler with a party balloon obsession. Inflatable barriers wobbled in the breeze of the climate-controlled dome. Holographic bubbles drifted through the air with menacing laziness. The first alien stepped up. The house fern tried to move forward, but was tagged by a bubble immediately. It curled up into a leafy fetal position and refused to continue. Next up, Flurm floated valiantly into the first inflatable barrier, and then the second, and the third, slowly deflating with every squishy collision. Welp, said Rika, elbowing Axel. Want to show these bioluminescent marshmallows how it's done? Oh, hell yes. When their turn came, the humans launched forward like caffeinated Olympians. Axel vaulted inflatable walls like hurdles, grinning the whole way. Rika ducked and weaved through the floating stun bubbles like she was in a zero-gravity kung fu movie. The aliens stared, stunned. Some gasped. Others just stared with stalk eyes, or whatever organ passed for a jaw. Axel hit the finish line, struck a triumphant pose, and declared, "Oh no, I think a bubble almost touched me. Call a therapist." Rika strolled up beside him, not even winded. Wow, that was intense. Almost as hard as opening a pickle jar this morning. Vorbix's glowing patches dimmed to a moody gray. But how this was designed to test the physical limits of sentient species. Axel shrugged. Maybe next time, ask a sentient being to design it. Back at the start line, the house fern weakly raised a leaf. It may have been a salute, or a cry for help. Either way, the humans high-fived over their effortless victory. The alien trainees crowded closer, their various appendages quivering with confusion. "How did you move so fast?" asked a creature that resembled a coral reef wrapped in barnacles. Axel tilted his head. "Fast? That was our trying not to fall asleep pace. You should see us when we're actually trying. Like, say, when we're late for the last shuttle off a melting glacier." "But the shocks," Vorbix burbled helplessly. "They should have incapacitated you." Rika rolled her eyes. "Please, I've gotten worse from petting my cat while wearing wool socks." "Cat?" asked the fern, slowly unrolling itself. "Yeah, you know, Earth apex predator. For legs, lots of judgment. Loves knocking over glasses for sport. Axel stroked his chin thoughtfully. Come to think of it, cats might be the real Death Worlders. Vorbix flickered like a broken lava lamp. This is unprecedented. We must initiate the next phase immediately. Ooh, Rika said, dripping sarcasm. Do we graduate to popping bubble wrap now? The aliens shuffled nervously as Vorbix led them into the next chamber, muttering about calibration errors and emergency curriculum revisions. What awaited them was even more ridiculous than the first room, and for Axel and Rika, that meant one thing. Game on. The training dome still echoed with the memory of stunned silence. The sentient cloud known as Flurm was slowly reinflating, releasing soft whooshing. Sounds like a deflating bagpipe trying to whistle. The house fern, known in its species as Tharnvu, had only just uncurled its last leaf. A coral-based life form called Kragix scribbled frantically on a notepad grown from its own arm. In the middle of this awkward aftermath, Axel Rain and Rika Lane stood like victorious champions at a bouncy castle tournament. Their smugness was only slightly undercut by the fact that one of the inflatable barriers behind them let out a slow, wheezing squeak. Instructor Vorbix, the gelatinous tentacle coil of stress and regret, floated in circles. Its bioluminescent patches were flashing yellow-orange in patterns that roughly translated to existential reboot required. That was merely the introductory sequence. Vorbix burbled, its voice wavering. Next, we test ranged accuracy. Please follow me to the projectile chamber. Projectile chamber? Axel muttered to Rika, think it's full of slingshots and water balloons. I'm hoping for glitter grenades, she replied, mildly explosive and great for parties. They followed the shivering group of alien trainees into the next room, a low-lit chamber lined with holographic targets shaped like caricatures of known galactic species. Some resembled wrinkled root vegetables. One appeared to be a frightened toaster. Vorbix gestured toward a table of sleek, toy-like weapons. You will each select a particle beam emission device, non-lethal, of course. These are programmed to fire concentrated bursts of tickle particles. Axel blinked. I'm sorry. Did you just say tickle? It is a non-invasive neurological stimulation tool. Vorbix explained quickly, his glow dimming with shame. Highly effective against the neural clusters of species with exposed nerve nets. So basically, Rika said, picking up one of the ray guns and inspecting it, this is a fancy space feather duster. Flurm, now partially reinflated, released a trembling puff of agreement. In my culture, tickling is a sacred gesture. Axel nodded solemnly. In ours, it's how siblings declare war. One by one, the alien trainees stepped up to the firing line. Tharnvu, the fern, vibrated anxiously, releasing a gentle puff of spores before missing every target. Kragix managed to shoot itself in the foot. Flurm accidentally tagged a ceiling vent, which responded by releasing a puff of cinnamon-scented mist. Then came the humans. Axel twirled his tickle blaster like an Old West gunslinger with a mischievous glint in his eye. Rika cracked her neck like she was about to demolish an intergalactic arcade. Begin, Vorbix said, sounding like it was already emotionally preparing a resignation speech. Axel's first shot vaporized a holographic turnip warrior mid-wiggle. His second bounced off a fake asteroid and ricocheted into the bullseye of a tomato-headed cyclops. Rika upped the ante, firing a 3-shot spread that took out a trio of targets with synchronized precision. Ha! Axel shouted, striking a ridiculous pose. Is it getting breezy in here, or is that just the wind of excellence? Rika grinned. No wind, just raw human overkill. The coral creature Kragix dropped its notepad. Flurm made a sound like an appreciative foghorn. Even Tharnvu seemed impressed. One leaf unfurled into what might have been a tiny foam finger. Vorbix twitched. These results are statistical anomalies. Our training metrics do not account for, winning. Rika offered. Insanity, Axel suggested. Improvisational disobedience with exceptional accuracy, Vorbix muttered. Yes, that. He floated backwards in a slow, defeated spiral. Very well. You leave me no choice. We must proceed to the final phase of your trial. Finally, Rika said, bouncing her tickle gun in one hand. Do we get to face off against a rogue massage chair? Is it competitive hammock weaving? Axel added. Vorbix ignored them, or possibly didn't know how to respond to Earth humor. Its voice took on a serious, almost ominous tone. The next simulation adapts to its participants. It recalibrates difficulty based on performance. It has never been completed. Axel grinned. Challenge accepted. Rika gave a mock curtsy. Lead on, glow squid. As the doors to the next chamber irised open, the lights inside flickered ominously. The air shimmered. The cartoonish training zones were gone. Ahead of them stretched a sprawling, war-torn wasteland simulation. Cracked terrain, scorched skies, enemy silhouettes in the fog. Finally, Rika whispered, a real playground. Vorbix looked like it might faint. The battlefield shimmered into view with the pomp and flair of a digital god, having a dramatic day. Gone were the inflatable obstacle courses and tickle weapons that looked like toys from a hyperactive toddler's imagination. In their place sprawled a battlefield simulation that pulsed with dread and dust. Burnt orange skies hovered over jagged cliffs and cratered plains. Massive mechanical towers loomed in the distance, surrounded by shifting clouds of simulated ash. A training dome, this was not. It was a full-blown war movie waiting to happen. Axel Rain scanned the terrain with a grin. Now, this is more like it. Beside him, Rika Lane crouched and poked a rock. Textured terrain. Realistic gravity distortion. That's some high-end illusion tech. Think I can keep this rock? You planning to duel someone with it? Depends how the day goes. Behind them, the alien recruits clung to the edges of the simulation chamber like toddlers watching a horror movie through their fingers. Flurm had redeflated from pure anxiety. Tharnvu was trying to disappear into its own leaves. Kragix was chanting prayers to a mineral god. Instructor Vorbix hovered nervously beside a panel, its tentacles now visibly twitching. This simulation adapts to your threat level in real time. Please proceed with caution. Axel cracked his neck. Danger level. Human. Rika smirked. Let's make this simulation. Wish it had an eject button. The moment they stepped into the war zone, the system responded. The training module's AI, likely running on something between fear and spite, escalated the difficulty instantly. Holographic, threats burst into existence. Spindly nightmare creatures with glowing mandibles and heavy armor, like a praying mantis had fused with a tank and gotten a gym membership. Ah, Axel said, bug season. Rika was already moving. She grabbed a loose shard of simulated debris and swung it like a bat, smashing one of the creatures into a nearby outcropping with a cry of, "Batter up!" Axel leapt over a lava-like fissure, tackled another enemy midair, and landed in a perfect roll. "Hey, simulation," he shouted toward the sky. "You might want to go easy on the effects budget. You'll overheat your render core." The aliens gasped. Vorbix dropped a tablet. The system responded. Harder enemies appeared. Giant lava geysers shot from the ground. Bladed pendulums swung from above like the galaxy's deadliest playground. "Oh, look," Rika said, flipping over a geyser. "It's your ex's mood swings in terrain form." Axel, now surfing down a slope of crumbling rocks, shouted back, "We dated one semester." She only lit me on fire twice. Above, a warning siren blared. Warning, difficulty escalation, maximum risk detected. Engaging final boss protocol. Good luck. You're going to need it. A shadow fell over the battlefield. From the red-tinted sky descended a colossus, 20 meters of chitin, tentacles, and malevolent AI eyes. It hit the ground like a dropped asteroid, sending a quake across the entire zone. Well, Rika muttered, that escalated quickly. Say hi to Aunt Mildred, Axel said. She's cranky after Thanksgiving again. The aliens shrieked. Flurm turned lavender and passed out. Kragix tried to dig into the floor. Even Tharnvu considered leafing itself into a cocoon. The colossus roared, eyes glowing. Laser beams sliced the air. Acid spewed from its multiple mouths. Rika ducked a shot and slid behind a wrecked hover tank. Okay, new plan. You distract it. Axel blinked. Why me? Because you talk more. Fair. Axel leapt onto a pile of debris and waved. Hey, glowworm, you got something in your teeth. Like all at breakfast. The beast turned. Rika sprinted from behind and tackled its lower limb, wrapping a cable of exposed wiring around it. Axel joined, and together, in a move that made physics whimper and logic sob, they tripped the boss monster. The colossus toppled, shrieking. They didn't stop. Rika ran up its writhing back like a parkour champion on a sugar high, yanking off plates of armor. Axel followed. Quick, weak spot. Where's the giant red glowing core? Bottom of the foot, probably, Rika called, classic villain design flaw. The monster tried to rise, but it was too late. Axel jammed a power rod into one of its neural nodes. The beast spasmed, howled, and collapsed in a burst of simulated static. Silence. The battlefield vanished in a fading shimmer. The dome returned. Everything normal. Clean. Untouched. Axel and Rika stood amid a stunned group of aliens. Well, Rika said, brushing off her shirt, that was cardio. Axel wiped his brow. Let's never speak of the part where I tried to use a rock as a distraction. You mean where you yelled, catch, and threw it at the sun? I was improvising. Instructor Vorbix floated closer, trailing an emotional breakdown behind it. You completed the simulation. You broke the simulation. It began to pray to its own backup server. Rika patted him gently. There. Want a cookie? No simulation has ever required emergency therapy. This one just requested a sabbatical. The alien trainees stared at the humans with a mix of awe and horror. Tharnvu slowly raised a leaf. Are all humans like this? Axel grinned. Nah, some of us are really dangerous. The lights in the combat dome flickered, then dimmed completely for several seconds, just long enough to make every alien in the room collectively reconsider their life choices. When the emergency backup lights kicked in, the system's primary console began spewing errors in every known galactic dialect. On screen, a red warning flashed repeatedly. Simulation core, critical stress, emotional distress protocol engaged. Instructor Vorbix floated like a forgotten party balloon in a hurricane of disbelief. His tentacles were tangled beyond recognition, his glowing patches dimming like the last embers of a dying lava lamp. The alien trainees stood frozen. Flurm, the sentient cloud, emitted a low, continuous moan, and Tharnvu was attempting to disappear under the floor tiles. Kragix had sunk to its coral knees, whispering something about forbidden legends and prophecy. In the center of this interstellar emotional breakdown, Axel Rain and Rika Lane stood high-fiving like they'd just won laser tag. Well, Axel said, brushing imaginary dust from his shirt, I give the final boss an 8 out of 10 for effort. Bit slow on the tentacle coordination. Rika cracked her knuckles. Still better than that one AI yoga instructor that tried to kill me, with downward spiral pose. Vorbix stuttered, finally finding fragments of voice. You destroyed the simulation. I prefer the term creatively liberated, Axel offered. This training sequence was designed by the finest combat engineers from 6-star systems. Vorbix wheezed. It contains over 1 million adaptive threat variables. It's been stress-tested against black hole mercenaries, apex predator hybrids, and one caffeine-fueled mercantile swarm. Rika raised an eyebrow. And you thought a pair of humans would be safer? We thought you would struggle, Vorbix admitted. Oh, we did, Axel said, stretching his back. Struggled not to laugh ourselves into unconsciousness. Behind them, the simulation chamber groaned. A new line appeared on the console. Simulation, AI requesting therapy and 2 weeks leave. Kragix dropped his ceremonial datapad. They have broken the sacred algorithm. The trainees began murmuring among themselves in languages that sounded like boiling syrup laser harp riffs, and what could only be described as ancient vacuum noises. Vorbix slowly floated forward, trailing his career behind him. You have surpassed everything, he said in disbelief. You completed what was supposed to be an impossible test. The galaxy will need to re-evaluate everything we know about your species. Rika grinned. You're welcome. Before Vorbix could say more, the chamber's side doors hissed open with the sort of mechanical drama reserved for important narrative moments. A new figure entered, taller, shimmer-scaled, tentacled, and draped in regal fabrics that sparkled like someone had mugged a constellation. Greetings, Deathworlders, the creature said, its voice amplified and surrounded by a faint synth hum. I am Grand Admiral Zarkos of the Galactic Defense Command. We've been watching your performance. Axel immediately turned to Rika. Told you we were being live-streamed. She elbowed him. Behave. The Admiral's wearing more authority than the last 10 governments we've annoyed combined. Zarkos approached them with the strange grace of a bureaucratic jellyfish in a state of eternal disappointment. You were meant to be evaluated for integration into cooperative combat coalitions, he said, not annihilate a billion-credit training corps. Oops, Rika said, not sounding sorry. But your actions, Zarkos continued, have proven enlightening. The Council has reviewed the footage and concluded that your unconventional methods, while dangerously unpredictable, might be exactly what we need. Axel tilted his head. To do what exactly? Train other Deathworlders in extreme sarcasm-based warfare. To retrieve, Zarkos said, eyes glowing faintly, a device of catastrophic potential, the cosmic Rubik's Cube. Rika frowned. You're naming it that? Really? It is an ancient artifact, Zarkos explained, capable of reshaping reality, altering physics, and possibly turning every molecule in the galaxy into sentient cheese. We need your unique adaptability. Let me guess, Axel said. It's located on some impossible planet, full of traps, possibly cursed, maybe surrounded by a bunch of reality-hating space monks. Zarkos blinked. Yes. Rika raised a hand. The monks have a gift shop. Yes. Cool. We're in. Vorbix, now completely untethered from any sense of purpose, emitted a soft groan. You're letting them handle the most powerful object in existence. Zarkos' chromatophores flickered. We've tried everyone else. They either exploded or converted to sentient gardening. Rika turned to Axel. Guess it's time to pack. Do we need bags in space? He asked. Can I bring snacks? Zarkos gestured toward the door. Come. The ship is waiting. And we made sure the training AI will not be present. Poor thing, Axel said. May it find peace in low-resolution heaven. As they walked past the still-recovering alien trainees, Kragix whispered reverently, May the tentacle gods preserve us. Flurm, now floating again, trailed after them briefly, shouting, Do humans always break things just by being near them? Axel and Rika paused. Yes, They said in unison before disappearing into the corridor. If the Galactic Council had a sense of irony, it was currently being roasted on a spit and served with a side of cosmic regret. Axel Rain and Rika Lane stood at the center of the interstellar diplomatic conclave, flanked by glowing banners, floating ceremonial drones, and approximately 57 species, all trying very hard to look dignified while hiding behind security shields. Behind them, Instructor Vorbix clutched a data pad like it was the last slice of sanity in the buffet line of madness. Beside him floated Grand Admiral Zarkos, shimmering like an ancient space monarch who had long ago accepted that his job was 60% chaos control, 30% interstellar paperwork, and 10% tentacle maintenance. The Admiral cleared his throat, though no one was quite sure where that was located on his anatomy. Representatives, he said solemnly, today we recognize the induction of 2 Terran operatives into the highest tier of emergency engagement classification. Several alien diplomats shifted in their seats, some hissing softly, others murmuring translations. Axel leaned over to Rika. Emergency engagement tier? Sounds like the galaxy's worst dating app. They match you with dangerous situations and incompatible alien governments, she deadpanned. Swipe left on impending doom. Zarkos pressed on, voice dignified. Through an unorthodox demonstration of combat adaptability, simulation domination, and culturally baffling behavior, these 2 humans have been deemed our last best option to retrieve the artifact known as the Cosmic Rubik's Cube. A massive hologram appeared midair, a twisting, glowing cube of dimensional anomalies, orbiting itself and playing eerie elevator music from an unknown timeline. Behold, said Zarkos, the artifact of chaos, reality's worst puzzle. Axel raised a hand. Does it come with instructions? No, replied Zarkos grimly. It comes with an extinction clause. Rika squinted at the projection. That's either an ancient device of unimaginable power or a glitchy smart speaker. From the edge of the hall, a delegate shaped like a translucent iguana with 6 monocles hissed, "They cannot be serious." Another, a floating neural fungus, rippled in outrage. This violates 4,212 diplomatic protocols. Zarkos' tendrils flicked. We are officially out of better options. At that, a dozen ceremonial drums boomed. A fleet of floating cameras zoomed in. The official mission commission ceremony began, complete with space trumpets and a 5-dimensional anthem that made half the room's ears bleed politely. 2 elaborately robed council aides approached, holding boxes that pulsed with unknown energy. Please accept, said Zarkos, these sacred tokens of your mission, the seal of Valerian and the mark of tactical autonomy. Axel accepted his box, opened it, and blinked. This is a sparkly rock and a button that says, "Hello, I cause problems." Rika held up hers. Mine's a key and a sticker that says emergency exit, probably. Zarkos looked pained. Symbolism is important. Sure, Rika said, slapping the sticker on her chest. Symbolism. Got it. More gasps echoed. A delegate fainted. Someone from the Jellyfish Coalition recorded it for their next training manual under Why We Do Not Let Humans Talk. As the ceremony concluded, Zarkos approached them personally. Your transport is prepared. Supplies have been loaded. You will depart immediately for Inversia, the inside-out world where the artifact lies. Inside out? Axel asked, like gravity's a suggestion and up is a conspiracy? Precisely. I love it already. Rika narrowed her eyes. What about resistance? The Keepers of Chaos, Zarkos said, a sect devoted to entropy, confusion, and really bad architectural decisions. Axel cracked his knuckles. Do they hate stairs and logic? They worship labyrinths that rearrange every 34 seconds, Zarkos replied. And their leader speaks only in ancient palindrome riddles. Rika grinned. We're going to fit right in. Zarkos nodded once. You leave in 1 hour. Try not to destabilize reality until then. As they exited the hall to thunderous confusion, hushed muttering, and at least one alien sobbing into a diplomatic sash, Rika turned to Axel. You realize, she said, we just became the galaxy's circus act, right? Axel threw an arm around her shoulder. Yep, but we're headlining. Behind them, the council tried to recalibrate its understanding of Earth. Again, several species updated their official documentation from mildly dangerous to avoid if possible. Somewhere in the stars, fate itself started stress drinking. The ship descended through the upper inversion layer of Inversia, a planet so bizarre even gravity had trust issues. From orbit, it looked like someone had turned a planet inside out, shoved its core on the surface, and then tried to reassemble its atmosphere like an IKEA project with missing parts. Axel Rain leaned against the viewport, staring out at the glowing mountains that floated beneath them and rivers that snaked along the sky. So we landed yet, he asked. We're falling sideways into negative gravity, replied the ship's AI. Cool. Just checking. Beside him, Rika Lane sipped from a thermos labeled death juice, black, no sugar, and adjusted her jacket. This place reminds me of that one art installation in San Francisco. You know, the one that gave people vertigo and existential dread. Axel tapped the glass. Looks like a Jackson Pollock painting ate a topographical map and sneezed. The ship finally settled on a floating islet of crystalline ground, anchored only by a single point of physics compliance the size of a dinner plate. Awaiting them was a creature that looked like the love child of a squid, a spider, and a Rubik's Cube. Its name was K-Arthax, the Unreadable, and it wore a sash that read Keeper of Chaos, although Rika noted the text was upside down and blinking in Morse code. K-Arthax bowed, awkwardly with too many limbs. Welcome, agents of entropy. The labyrinth awaits. The what now? Axel asked, already pulling string from his pocket. The labyrinth of lunacy, K-Arthax clarified. A sacred trial that rearranges itself every 34 seconds. No map, no logic, only confusion. Axel nodded. So, like an Earth DMV, Rika stepped forward. Look, buddy, you've got ancient traps, puzzles from a geometry nightmare, and a universe-ending cube. We've got sarcasm, caffeine, and a rubber duck. K-Arthax blinked all 6 eyes. You brought a duck? Name's Carl, said Axel, pulling it from his jacket. He's here for moral support. Without further ceremony, because none of the keepers could keep a straight face, the doors to the labyrinth irised open, revealing a corridor that immediately bent left, up, and into what looked like a mathematically aggressive sneeze. The humans entered. The walls shimmered, adjusted, and rearranged. Floors became ceilings. Ceilings whispered insults. One hallway looped back to the entrance while playing a flute solo from a parallel dimension. After 2 minutes, Rika threw a piece of string over her shoulder. We are now officially lost in 3 directions simultaneously. Perfect, Axel grinned. Means we're making progress. The traps escalated. One corridor tried to crush them with logic puzzles. Another triggered an illusion field that turned Axel into an angry goose. Rika barely blinked. I've seen weirder on the subway, she muttered, pulling a switch that degoosed him. Eventually, they reached the chamber, the cube. It floated, humming, in the center of a void-shaped space. Light fractured around it like it was offended by consistency. Hovering nearby, wrapped in shadows and quantum uncertainty, was the final guardian, a massive, multi-limbed creature fused with shards of failing reality. Its eyes burned with glitch fire, its teeth rearranged mid-growl. Well, Axel whispered, Aunt Mildred's here. The boss let out a roar that shook space itself. Rika took a sip of coffee. Let's do this. The creature attacked. Tentacles lashed. Time loops triggered. Gravity went sideways. Axel rolled under a claw and shouted, "Quick, hit it with unfiltered sarcasm." Rika dodged a wave of antimatter and called back, "Already doing that. Your haircut's a war crime." The cube pulsed, reacting to the chaos. "Go for the cube." Axel yelled, leaping off a collapsing platform and throwing Carl, the duck, toward the center. Carl bounced off the artifact, activating it in the process. There was a sound like the universe gagging on its own tongue. Light exploded. Time reversed. Rika caught Carl mid-rebound. Everything stopped. The creature froze, confused and upside down. The cube folded in on itself and dropped neatly into Rika's hands. "Nice catch," Axel said. "Nice throw," she replied. Carl's MVP. The chamber faded. The labyrinth deconstructed around them. Thax's voice echoed through the void. "You have solved the puzzle." By accident, Axel clarified, which, said Thax, is how it was always meant to be. The return trip was quiet, too quiet, which was suspicious considering Axel Rain had just weaponized a rubber duck and Rika Lane had insulted a physics-defying abomination into submission. They sat in the ship's common chamber, the cosmic cube now sealed inside a containment unit that gently hummed to itself in multiple keys. Every once in a while, the cube flickered, and something in the ship changed. A chair turned into sand. Gravity reversed briefly. The coffee machine developed an opinion. "I'm not saying it's alive," Axel muttered, watching the cube with narrowed eyes. "But I think it just tried to order noodles." "It also changed my coffee into root beer," Rika added, "which is unforgivable. Blasphemy." Grand Admiral Zarkos appeared on the ship's projection screen, his tentacled face stern. "Congratulations, humans. You have retrieved the artifact and possibly destabilized reality." "Possibly," Axel asked. "We just passed a hallway that loops back into itself and smells like existential dread." "We advise extreme caution," Zarkos continued. "You are to rendezvous with our quantum stabilization team at Station Theta 9. Rika raised an eyebrow. "You're sending a stabilization team for a cube that sneezes timelines." Zarkos nodded. "And a therapist for the cube." Axel stared at the containment box. "Good call. I think it's having an identity crisis." Just then, the cube pulsed again. A faint whisper echoed through the room. "New timeline uploaded. Duck Universe 6 activated." The ship jolted. Outside, stars rearranged themselves like they were redoing interior decor. Planets changed colors. A small moon developed a ring system shaped like a smiley face. Rika squinted through the viewport. Okay, either we're shifting dimensions again, or someone let a toddler redesign the cosmos. Axel blinked. Didn't Earth used to have just one sun? They now had 3. One was green. The ship's AI rebooted mid-sentence, then politely asked them to define the concept of left. "Okay, this is getting out of hand." Rika muttered. "Axel, say something to the cube." Axel turned toward it, serious for once. "Cube, buddy, pal, you're clearly having a moment. We've all been there. Once I ate 9 tacos and thought I was a refrigerator." The cube blinked. Twice. A slow ripple passed through the air. Then another. Reality hiccuped. Suddenly, the floor became transparent. Rika looked down and said, "I didn't need to know what the ship's undercarriage looked like, or that it contains socks." The cube pulsed again and emitted a holographic pop-up. "Achievement unlocked. Multiversal mayhem. Congratulations, you broke reality." Axel pointed. "Hey, we got an achievement. That's got to mean something, right?" Rika sighed. "It means we're going to have to explain this to Zarkos in a way that doesn't involve screaming." Zarkos reappeared on the screen, twitching. Status update, he said, teeth slightly grinding. We broke it, Axel replied, nodding toward the cube. All of it. Define it. Existence. Zarkos stared for a moment. Then he reached out a frame and pressed something. Behind them, a small compartment opened. A tray of cupcakes rose from the floor. Each one was labeled Oops. Contingency snacks, Zarkos muttered. You triggered the universal Oops protocol. Rika picked one up. Cream-filled. Nice touch. Zarkos sighed. We'll need to realign the galactic timeline, deploy the recalibrators, possibly reboot several minor universes, and also have a very long meeting. Axel sat back, cupcake in hand. We'll bring the duck. No, Zarkos said flatly. No duck. The cosmic cube sparkled in protest. Oh, great, Rika said, sipping now restored coffee. Now it's moody. Just then, the cube projected a hologram of them, both standing heroically atop an asteroid shaped like a llama. Above it, in bold cosmic font, the saviors of chaos, bringers of duck, guardians of absurdity. Axel nodded slowly. Okay, that one I'm keeping. The screen flickered again. Zarkos was back, this time with backup. 3 advisors, 1 blinking, 1 vibrating, and 1 quietly updating their will. The council, Zarkos said, has decided you're not banished. You're promoted. Wait, what? Rika blinked. You're now designated reality class operatives, field agents of entropy tier 1. Axel fist pumped. Tier 1, baby. You will be sent where logic fails, where timelines cry, and where only chaos prevails. Sounds like Detroit, Rika muttered. The call ended. The ship hummed. The cube purred. And somewhere in the fabric of creation, a new timeline blinked into existence, ready for 2 humans with no filter, a sentient duck, and a mission that defied every known rule. Station Theta 9 hovered at the edge of a spatial ripple, an elegant diplomatic fortress that looked like a floating museum, a cathedral, and a mildly passive-aggressive porcupine had merged in low orbit. Inside, everything smelled like ozone, coffee, and policy violations. Axel Rain and Rika Lane stepped off their shuttle with the swagger of 2 people who had definitely broken something important and somehow gotten promoted for it. Following them was the cosmic cube, humming softly in its containment field, rotating in multiple dimensions, and occasionally displaying fragments of reality from timelines that absolutely should not exist. One holographic moment showed Axel winning a beauty contest judged by sentient barnacles. Another showed Rika refereeing a pillow fight between rival empires. We're trending in 12 galaxies, Rika muttered, scrolling on her communicator. Under unstable icons. Only 12. Axel said, offended. We're losing momentum. Waiting for them at the station's grand chamber was Grand Admiral Zarkos, flanked by 3 senior counselors, 1 floating cup of espresso, and a diplomatic AI already compiling legal apologies for the last 24 hours. You're late, Zarkos said. Time got weird again, Axel replied. We took a left turn at yesterday, but sideways. Rika held up a bag. We brought cupcakes. Also, the universe might be leaking a little. Zarkos sighed and gestured for them to sit. This is not a reprimand. Shame, Rika said. I had my fake crying face ready. This is, Zarkos continued, a recruitment. Both humans paused. Zarkos paced slowly, his regal robes trailing flickers of energy from the cube's warping influence. The council has reviewed your results. Against all simulations, expectations, and logic, you retrieved the artifact intact, survived exposure to a fluctuating reality field, and only broke 6 timelines. 7, Axel corrected, but 1 was already cracked. 6.5, then Zarkos admitted. Regardless, the galaxy has decided. You're being offered command. Axel blinked. Of what? Sarcos turned. A massive wall display lit up behind him, schematics of a starship unlike any other, gleaming, asymmetrical, and partially held together by probability fields and raw defiance. It looked like a star destroyer had collided with a science museum and decided to embrace chaos as a core engine component. The SS Entropy Protocol, Sarcos said, a prototype vessel powered by quantum improvisation, designed to handle problems no one else can. Rika narrowed her eyes. This is a trap, right? No, said the Admiral. It's a test run, and you're the only ones mad enough to operate it. Axel rubbed his chin. Does it have a gym? No. Does it have coffee? Sarcos glanced sideways. Yes, we're in. The Admiral gestured again. A circular data slate floated forward, lighting up with terms, command codes, and an official badge shaped like an exploded question mark. You will report directly to the Galactic Special Operations Directorate under codename Wildcard Command. Your authority supersedes most regional councils. You will be deployed to high-risk, low-logic anomalies. Your first assignment begins in... The lights flickered. The cube purred ominously. Now, Sarcos finished. A loud klaxon rang across the station. A panicked voice rang through the chamber. We've got a tear in subspace, hallway C. There's a hallway screaming in French and bleeding confetti. Sarcos didn't flinch. Rika sighed and turned to Axel. Guess our orientation starts with chaos bingo. He grinned. Bingo? I'm going for blackout. As the two humans walked briskly toward the chaos, the cube floated after them, glowing brighter. The AI snapped to life. SS Entropy Protocol Systems online. Humor subroutines engaged. Initiating boot-up sequence. Let's get weird. Sarcos watched them disappear down the corridor, flanked by sparks of unpredictable physics, cascading glitches, and the smell of burning toast. He turned to the counselors. You wanted a solution. You got Earthlings. One of the counselors gulped. May the stars help us all. The SS Entropy Protocol was sleek, untested, and powered by a quantum core labeled Do Not Shake. Naturally, the humans shook it during startup. We're just calibrating, Axel Rain had said, thumping the side like a vending machine. Now the ship hummed ominously through the void, drifting toward their first official mission site, a derelict research station caught in a time storm near the unstable Neural Maw Nebula. Inside the command deck, Rika Lane was reading the mission brief upside down, mostly for dramatic effect, while Axel was adjusting the seating arrangements with duct tape and a personal fan. So, Rika said, sipping a fresh cup of coffee, "What's the crisis again?" Axel held up a holopad. Temporal inversion cascade. Technically, the station is both on fire and hasn't existed yet. Rika nodded. And we're going there. Why? Because, Axel replied, the council decided we're good with chaos. At that moment, the cosmic cube, which now served as their unofficial ship mascot, blinked into view and changed the ambient lighting to disco mode. See, Axel added, pointing. Even the cube's on board with the vibe. The AI voice chimed in. Destination, temporal distress zone theta, 22. Probability of stable reentry, 12%. Initiating heroic music playlist. The ship accelerated. The nebula outside pulsed, with impossible colors, green lightning crawling across scarlet gas clouds, shimmering debris floating backwards in time. The derelict station itself flickered in and out of existence like a badly synced slideshow. Looks haunted, Rika said, cracking her knuckles. Perfect, Axel said, tightening his jacket. Let's knock. They docked with a thunk that echoed in 3 dimensions. Inside, the corridors twisted unnaturally, walls breathing, lights pulsing to the beat of an unknown drumline. A warning echoed over the intercom. Temporal breach in progress. Please rewind your regrets and proceed with caution. I think the hallway just tried to gaslight me. Rika muttered. I think my shadow just winked. Axel replied. They moved carefully through the warped corridors. Time anomalies flickered, ghost versions of a station crew running through walls or arguing with themselves in reverse. One passed through Axel, paused, and said, Don't trust the soup, before vanishing. Eventually, they reached the main control room, floating an inch above the floor, spinning slowly, surrounded by singing sparks. At its center was the station's core, a shattered temporal node wrapped in fractal tendrils and glitching quantum foam. It pulsed like a broken heartbeat. Well, Axel said, That's a mess. The cube appeared beside them and gently emitted a low hum of disapproval. We stabilized the node, Rika said, already pulling tools from her belt, or this station collapses into a time donut. I'm not even going to ask, Axel replied, grabbing a coil of timeline dampeners. As they worked, the station resisted. Time slipped sideways. Tools became jellyfish. Axel aged 6 minutes and got a beard, then de-aged and forgot why he was holding a spoon. The node roared, unleashing a temporal shockwave. Rika was thrown backward, slamming into a wall that briefly turned into a birthday cake. Axel, she shouted, halfway through a time loop. Now would be good. I'm working on it. Axel yelled, lunging toward the node and slamming the cube into its base. Everything paused. The cube pulsed. Reality inhaled. Then, like a rubber band snapping back, time reset. The station was still. The lights calmed. A message pinged across the intercom. Temporal stabilization complete. Please collect your commemorative mug on the way out. Rika pulled herself up. That worked. Axel was covered in frosting, holding what looked like a glowing fork. I think so. Also, I might be a god now. Jury's out. The cosmic cube spun, lazily pleased with itself. The ship AI pinged. Council message incoming. Well done, wildcards. New anomaly logged in the spindle sector. Chaos level, uncharted. Rika and Axel exchanged a look. Next, Rika asked. Axel nodded. Let's roll the dice. They returned to the SS entropy protocol, where coffee awaited, the cube hummed, and another impossible mission blinked onto the dashboard. Because invertia had been the easy part, the SS entropy protocol didn't glide through space so much as improvise its way across it. Inside, the command deck lit up with emergency pings, ambient sparkle hums from the cosmic cube, and the unmistakable scent of burnt quantum toast. Axel Rain and Rika Lane leaned over the console as a priority alert chimed in. Location, Void Expanse 7C. Anomaly, planet-wide reality loop. Cause, unknown. Symptoms, deja vu, deja vu, and mood swings in gravity. Mission code, final, glitch protocol. Rika glanced sideways. Final mission code. That sounds suspiciously like a last season finale. Axel pulled a pair of mirrored sunglasses from somewhere. I called dibs on the dramatic monologue. The cube pulsed nervously. They arrived moments later at a planet-sized torus caught in a loop. Day turned to night. Oceans reversed. Cities built themselves, then collapsed, then built themselves again in slightly different architectural styles. Hovering above the surface was the glitch core, a swirling mess of code, color, and corrupted causality. Reality stuttered near it. Birds flew backwards. Buildings sneezed. Entire mountains rebooted with firmware updates. Looks like the cube's drunk cousin showed up, Axel muttered. Let's go reset the universe, Rika said, strapping in her grappling hook, because of course they had won. The SS entropy protocol dropped them directly into the heart of the chaos. The moment they touched down, the terrain rippled. Axel blinked and suddenly had a mustache. Rika's hair changed color mid-sentence. For some reason, the cube began reciting dramatic poetry about spoons. The glitch core loomed above them, pulsing with corrupted energy and radiating waves of narrative instability. Every few seconds, the world rewound or fast-forwarded 10 frames. Occasionally, Axel and Rika would switch lines and then snap back. Okay, this place is gonna give me temporal heartburn, Axel and Rika said simultaneously. A thunderous voice boomed from the core. Error, error, user, human, not recognized, admin privileges required. Axel cracked his knuckles. Good thing I brought the admin password. He raised the cosmic cube. It pulsed in response, and immediately began floating toward the core, spinning faster, warping space with every rotation. Rika threw a cable into the energy field and braced it on her hip. Let's stabilize the loop before the galaxy turns into a video buffering screen. Axel jumped into the field, cube in hand, and connected with the glitch core. Reality froze. The stars held their breath. The cube spun one last time, then expanded into a glowing lattice of code, cascading through the core in every direction. Color exploded. Time snapped like an overstretched rubber band. And then, nothing. Stillness. Then, reality rebooted. The skies cleared. The loop collapsed. The glitch core dimmed. The planet sighed. And hovering in the air between Rika and Axel was a single blinking message in perfect galactic common. Thank you for completing the final glitch protocol. Would you like to save, replay, quit to menu? Rika stared at it. Please tell me the universe doesn't actually run on a menu system. Axel clicked save. The message faded. The air relaxed. Birds resumed normal flight patterns. Gravity remembered how to behave. The SS Entropy Protocol beamed them back aboard. Grand Admiral Zarkos appeared moments later via hologram, visibly stunned. You completed it, he said quietly. The final code sequence. The core is stabilized. The last recursive system is patched. You finished the job. Axel shrugged. We also turned a mountain into a roller coaster, but it seemed like a net positive. Zarkos blinked. You too are chaos incarnate. We prefer proactive adaptability, Rika replied, sipping from a thermos that was somehow now a trophy. And the cube? Zarkos asked. The cosmic cube was resting in its containment field, softly glowing. Every few seconds, it projected random emojis. I think it's retired, Axel said. It wants to become a motivational speaker. A pause. Then Zarkos smiled. Earthlings, he said, you've redefined the galactic understanding of insanity. And yet we owe you. Rika nodded. You're welcome. Next time, call us before the universe needs a factory reset. Zarkos cut the feed. Outside, the stars sparkled just a little brighter. Inside, the crew of the Entropy Protocol celebrated with cupcakes, duct-taped confetti launchers, and a spontaneous zero-gravity conga line. Because in the end, humanity wasn't just a death world species. They were the glitch fixers, the wild cards, the unprogrammable weird. And the galaxy, it was so much better off because of it.